So the name of the AutoCAD product is called Project Ignite. Project Ignite. And it just lets you create student accounts. If you try to log on to ThinkCAD or 123D Circuit, it says you have to be older than 13. But if you sign them up through Project Ignite, they can be students and they don't have to have an email address and all that kind of stuff. So Project Ignite is the one that lets you create student accounts and group them together and see some of this stuff. And the only other thing I wanted to say that I forgot about is one of the teachers I work with called Steve Daly, who's a DP teacher, is running a workshop on Arduino, and he asked me to say if you have any DT teachers who are wanting to do more Arduino stuff, there's some CPD things running. I put the file on the Google Drive, so if you want to see about that CPD, if you're interested, but it's sort of more focused to DT teachers, I put it there so you can talk to teachers about it.
Shall I start? Brian's disappeared. He's coming back? Oh, he's coming back. Okay. The first two presentations were obviously quite technical. This will be less technical, hopefully. In line with, I guess, there's some makerspaces here at Patna. I just heard about a makerspace about a year ago off by chance, and I thought that sounded really interesting. And so, with a bit of persuasion, persuading the school and finances and so on and so forth, we now have our own makerspace in Bromsgrove, and this is kind of a definition of what a makerspace is. I'll show you some photos, some images. I run it as an ECA twice a week now, and I'm going to run it for terms 2 and 3. And it's just basically, well, you've seen one, but if you haven't seen one or used one, it's just a room that you can fill with as much stuff as you possibly can, and then you just give it to the kids, and then they just work on their own personal projects. So you're not teaching, in effect, you're just guiding them, you're assisting them. You can teach them techniques or coding or programming or anything at all. It can be creative, it can be technical, it can be both. But and we use it to support. We don't really have homework at Bromsgrove. We have extended learning opportunities, is that right, Deanne? And ILTs, independent learning tasks. So it's not set homework they have to do. It's projects that they should be engaged with and they should be doing extra to their normal classroom tasks.
And off the top volume menu, so that children have a menu where they can select which task rather than being given one set task, they have a choice, giving them more autonomy to either challenge themselves or do smaller tasks more frequently.
Yeah, so it's almost like a tic-tac-toe, or we call it like, this is a whole different thing to makerspaces, but it ties them together. So we have Chili 1, 2, 3, and so we give them a choice of activities or projects they have to complete over a series of weeks. They could do a series of short, easy tasks, or medium, or really difficult. So, and a difficult one might be, say, Arduino or Raspberry Pi. And so in our makerspace, this is what we kind of have already. We have some MBOX. Not working right now. I don't know why. I need someone to help me out, but not working. They were working. We have some Arduino. We have some hardware that I need to teach myself how to use, so I need some help as well. We have lots of Google Cardboards. We're using them in our lessons now. Every now and again, I'm hoping to push it more in term 2. I'm going to be giving a CPD workshop at Bromsgrove to our staff to say, you can use these in every single lesson. Geography, history, maths, absolutely everything. And like Brian said, they're super cheap and you can buy them online. But in terms of our makerspace, so a kid, typically a student comes to the ECA, to the makerspace, and they could obviously just explore and play around with virtual reality and Google Cardboard. Down with the different apps, they could do some programming. This is these, I don't know if you heard of Little Bits, I don't know if I mentioned it last time. These are really good for Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3. They are compatible with Arduino and I think certainly BBC Micro, maybe Raspberry Pi, I'm not quite sure. I'll show you some videos later, but these are really accessible, simple electronics. So before you even get near maybe Arduino, which is probably maybe high level, these are magnetic, they're color-coded, they're built for young children. really good introduction into electronics, really good supporting theory in terms of computing, in terms of inputs, outputs, sensors, actuators. And then they start really simple, and then you can make them more and more complex.
Are they
So,
supported by like lessons? Is there any that
yeah. So I'll show you. So it comes with a massive. I should have bought some today. An idiot. It comes with a massive book, and you just follow all of those lessons, step by step, all the activities. It's kind of like arts and crafts, because you can use like paper cups and sellotape and glue to make windmills or burglar alarms or weather stations. So, I've used them in lessons from time to time as a kind of like something of a different activity, and it reinforces computing theory. And then again, it's like a physical activity, and they're making something they can see a physical effect. So I'll show you some more of this later on. Comes with, so you get the box, you get all the bits in there, and then you get the teacher pack, or you get like a big book, and they just follow it step by step. And obviously, and as they're making these different creations, they are hopefully kind of learning without realizing they're learning about the theory behind it. So they're really, really good. Other things we have in our makerspace, where Bromsgrove is quite small, we don't really have the biggest budgets. So I went to MBK and I bought a drone for like £50 sterling. And flying is quite difficult. But I bought a drone, and I was thinking, I don't know why I want a drone, but I just want a drone. So now I have one, now we use it, and now we are learning how to fly it. It has a wireless camera on there, not high quality, but it doesn't matter. And so, in terms of creativity or filmmaking, a makerspace for me is not about just like IT or robots. It's about everything. So if someday we learn how to fly this properly, we can do maybe like a nice 360 virtual tour of the school, or it could be used in a filmmaking project, and they're cheap. And if you break them, you can just buy it again. One thing I want to do next term in the makerspace is that, again, it's on Lazario, I think, another website, for about £150, maybe less. You can get your own. You can build your own drone as a kit, and it's quite difficult, and that's why I want to do it. To say this is your long-term project. So it's good you can buy them, obviously, but like you were saying, we don't want to be consumers, we want to be producers of these things. Makerspace could be really something really simple, like a 3D Lego tower. I had a group of Year 9 girls who came once a week, and I think it took them about 5 or 6 weeks to build this 3D mini tower of Pisa. It's difficult. Again, in terms of robotics, I don't want to scare myself or my ECAs, my makerspaces off, so I've just found some quite cheap. They're from Hong Kong, they come in like 3 or 4 days. Some Vex Robotics do loads of robotics, to like high level stuff. This is quite simple stuff that you just basically, like Meccano, you snap together. And then as they're doing that, I'm hoping that I can teach them, or I can just give them resources so they understand about some basic physics of mechanics. And then once you're obviously building it is a challenge. You could do it in, you could give out 5 boxes. This is about £20 each, $25 each. I can show you some images. It's about this big. So you have all these different mechanisms. And if I buy enough of them, the idea is, or maybe with other schools, because they're quite cheap, then we can have a competition where everybody just has a box, and then you go and you time each team. You have to build it and then make it and then use it, and then you could obviously see who can fire their longest dart, or the furthest reaching ball. So all these things here. Story Wars is a free website. Set up a laptop with stickers on and badges, and basically you log in and you start a chapter. So it's not technical at all, it's creative writing. That's a makerspace as well. And so I would start a chapter, and then I would pass it on to Rob, and then Rob would pass it on to Simon, and then you have this kind of snowballing, kind of collaborative learning effect of anybody. Each chapter should follow on. See the previous chapter, but everybody makes their own chapter. So that could be a makerspace. Musical editing, making your own music, making your own soundtracks. I've got, because I teach media as well, so it's quite nice when the students are creating their own music, their own effects. So this is a free app that you can download on your iPhone right now, that my students use from time to time, and it's just creative and it's just really good. We also have, we're lucky we have a 3D printer now. I'm sure the schools have probably tons and tons. We have one, and we got it from a company just based in Bangkok, and it was about £300. So in terms of an educational 3D printer, it's really cheap. The filaments, I think each filament is about £10 each. So when it works out, when you're making, produces 10 by 10 by 10, and when you produce that one thing, it's only like I don't know, a few baht. I think it's really, really cheap in terms of the filament. And you can make it yourself, or the company can just give it to you. Either way. But in terms of 3D printer, it's cheap, it's easy to use. Obviously, you can use SketchUp or like AutoCAD or Autodesk, and then that's like our big flagship piece of our makerspace. And obviously, it's not the printing, which is the best part. It's them mostly designing and 3D modeling, which is the difficult part, which takes time. And now I have this. Now I'm thinking, what do I do with it? Like I need ideas of what I need to produce. But obviously I need the students to now think about what do we need to produce. Have some 3D software modeling design competitions. Have a printing competitions. It can be a house competition. So this is what we have so far. I think the company that we bought this on, they're going to loan us this printer as well. So if that happens, I'll let you know. You can all come and have a look, use it, try it out. I can give the details of the company we use. They supply us with a 3D printer and the little bits, and they're based on Lam Han Hang in Minbury. So they're based on Soy Mistine. So they're really local. They're a Thai company, and they are the only distributor for little bits, and then they produce or they sell these 3D printers as well. So they're a good company to have locally based. They're really good. They've offered to come in, and because we're with the same school as well, they've offered to come in and give a workshop, in effect, on 3D printing, which is something I'd need as well. So most of the stuff I just do because I want to learn it myself, and I need to be upskilled, and it's just an excuse to have a really good ECA. So yeah, they're really good. They've offered to come in and give a whole staff workshop on 3D printing and 3D printers. So we're definitely going to take them up on that offer in term 2. So I don't want it to be just me in my cupboard with a 3D printer. My idea is that the whole school again uses comes in, books out the makerspace. The makerspace is a bookable resource. It's on a Google Calendar that we've shared, and then every single teacher, because they know what the idea is now and they know what they can do, they can come in and then they use a 3D printer. It's not just me, it's the whole school. It's a whole school resource. But I need to obviously do a PD session first and then get people motivated and take out the scare factor, I think, This is my next. Okay, this might not happen. Have you heard of Fab Labs? Okay, so I just heard of this, or I saw this online. I thought it might happen this year. It's not going to happen this year. Basically, I'll just give you this kind of thing. I just happen to know a chap who lives locally near me, who's a builder, who's an architect, who's into sustainable development. So we got talking, and then I told him about this kind of thing. And a Fab Lab is something that you build yourself as a school. It could be out of clay bricks and bamboo, or anything at all. Hopefully not concrete, hopefully not tin. And obviously as you're building this, you might need someone with some expertise to help you out. And it could be any shape or size. These are probably quite ambitious, but you can make a mud hut, yeah? And then obviously just building it yourself is a whole school project. That would, I think, be fantastic. In terms of, also, for the makerspace, it's all about STEAM and STEM. And you can do it in a very soft fashion without having to be teaching a lesson on STEM. You're just delivering STEM through your makerspace or through your Fab Lab. So what I'm going to hopefully do over the next maybe year or a couple of years is that primary and secondary, or maybe it can maybe be done over a weekend. If we have enough people, enough materials are going to be really cheap. Okay, it's about the expertise. And then once we've built one of these structures, then we can think how we use it. And that's STEAM and that's STEM. And so it's an outside makerspace. And as we're building it, we can design it ourselves. I'm planning to maybe, again, everything is a whole school competition. So a student-led competition, a student competition for designs for the Fab Lab. So once they know what a Fab Lab is, they can start designing it themselves. And that teaches them some, hopefully then they'll learn about, and we can do some lessons on just design techniques and architectural plans. Okay. And because we're building it, we can build in some sensors and some actuators. So it's a living, breathing weather station. And maybe, if it's possible, we can have some aquaponics or some hydroponics, which is, a lot of schools, I guess, have living gardens or their own garden. So this is what I'm hoping to plan over the next year or two. I need lots of help, so if you want to help me with this, it would be most appreciated. That's the makerspace, pretty much. And I can just show you some. So this is, it's not going to open carefully. Can I open this? I'll just show you some images of our makerspace. I'll show you one of room. So we have the little bits, and I'm trying to find the one photo of the makerspace itself. So as you can see, if I can find that one.
It was actually a really awful space
before, some neighbours knows this, that it was, before it was renovated, and I can't find the photo now, it was just an empty space in school. It used to be like the old sixth form common room, and then it's used every now and again for exams or for invigilation. And I just said, can I just take it over, just give it to me? And then obviously I wanted some money. And so it wasn't just me, to be fair. We have a library coordinator, so a teacher who kind of works with the librarian. So the makerspace is part of the library, because libraries obviously are not just about books nowadays. So this is and with a lot of persuasion and backing, maybe there should be. So the makerspace is part of the library. So now it's a really, really nice space, and I can't show you photos, but it's nice. And in terms of, we all agree we're in this really nice room, that if your room is nice, think about homes and houses, right? We make them the best we possibly can. So like our classroom should be really nice. They should be comfortable and visually stimulating. And like with breakout rooms, the makerspace can be used for lessons. Like you move out of your classroom, and then you book out the makerspace, and you go and use it for whatever you need to use it for. That's what it is. This is. Yeah, it's just, so we have 2 IT labs there, and then the makerspace in the middle, above the library, so it's nicely situated. I can send you all these links. These are the little bits. If I can go to... I want to go kits. I can just show you this. Do I have sound? So, really accessible. Easy to use, magnetic, and then you can build remote control cars and all of this. And once they follow the book, once they've done all the projects, then the challenge is, and there's an app you can download, there's a whole community online of of projects. And the challenge is then, what can you invent, what can you build with these bits? Because you can make anything you like, pretty much. How am I doing for time? Do I have some time left? Okay, right. I think one of my first ISTECs I came to, somebody showed me Flipboard, and I use it all the time, probably to death. And so what I do for my Makerspace ECA, so anything that I will forget, I just flip into here. It's easy to do, and then when they come in, because it's not a lesson with a starter and a plenary, they come in and they bring up the Flipboard that I've made for them, and then they go through, and then they can look at all the different ideas they can possibly explore. Different projects, different hardware, different software. So they're kind of out of like that Bangkok bubble. There is a bigger world out there, MIT Media Lab, all the different things that they could be looking at, give them inspiration. And then there's a few examples. I don't want this. Okay. I think I said before, there's a 3D printer now you can buy from GearBest, and it's a kit. So you gets delivered, you buy it, and then you build it yourself as a team. So that could be a really good long-term makerspace or STEAM or STEM project. And obviously, once you've built it, then you can use it, and then you can do some designing and some printing. So I might just buy that. If the school doesn't buy it, I think I'm going to just buy it because it's not expensive, and then I'm going to just take it into school and then do it and then use it. And another thing that I've got for another primary teacher has also bought one as well, so we're going to take them in. I've had this for a while. I need to get on this. It's called Rephone. The idea is that you don't just you just don't use a phone that's been given to you. You create your own phone using all the different parts, like so. And again, I'm not an expert on electronics, so I'm teaching myself incrementally, step by step. So I think they're a Chinese company, and they've spent like 8 years trying to kind of like hack every single part. It's all legit. And then obviously, again, I think it runs on its own OS, and you have to do a little bit of programming, but you can, and there's a whole movement now in terms of kind of modular programming and modular phones and modular kits, and it says it takes a minute to make it. It took me a bit longer. But then obviously, and by doing that, I learned about components and about what goes inside a smartphone and a smartwatch, more than just obviously reading a book about it. So it's really good. And then you can customize them, and you could buy different parts. You could have 3 cameras or 4 speakers or whatever. So it's the same as using Raspberry Pi or Arduino. It's about making it yourself and customizing it.
Where did you buy this from again?
I buy a thing from GearBest or Lazardia, I think, and then you just do it online. It gets delivered to school, and it's all done. So GearBest I use a lot, and obviously Lazardia, and then where did I get Rephone from? I think Rephone actually was probably from Seed. Seed do lots of electronics and components. You can say something. Yes. Oh, I say right. Yeah. Seed. So and I think this was about, how much was it? I don't know, $60. It was up £30 or £35. Again, I think it's really cheap to have your own. I have one for myself. Hopefully, I can maybe buy like 10 and then just give them out to my makerspaces. And I try and get people, I try and get my students, so I'm teaching IT to and computing, to be part of my ECA. So my ECA reinforces my lessons without me having to do extra lessons. So again, I'm kind of trying to cheat. And then it comes with like a cardboard fascia. Or if you have a 3D printer, you can make your own casing for your own phone or your own strap. Yeah. So these are all different with a makerspace. It could be anything at all. And so there's a million projects out there, and these are some of the things that we are doing at the moment or trying to do. And you can see there, not as easy, but you snap it together, and then it works. It's a phone. It's a smartwatch. It's a smartphone, and it's great. It's genius. It's a simple, basic version. Nothing more. Yeah, and then I've been using what I think Nathan was talking about earlier about apps that create and scan objects 3D. Quality might not be so good, he was telling me, but once you could scan each other and have like a mini staff or whatever, and then you can scan an object and then feed that to your 3D printer. So the implications are endless, pretty much. That's it.
I just wanted to chip in there.
Yeah.
In terms of one of the things that we've done is use the ECA program as a vehicle to start to deliver these sort of side things. Because I don't know if it's the same situation in your schools, but there is an administration fee for our ECAs. So pay 500 baht,
Right.
an administration fee, and that goes into a pool, which then the majority of the ECAs within the school obviously never tap into.
Mm-hmm.
Sporting activities and things like this, but things like this obviously need some kind of financial input. And so rather than being directly into the lessons, we start in as ECA, and then people see the value of it, and then it starts to get maybe up into the curriculum, and then you can get the financial sort of side.
Yeah. Because I think for a lot of people, I think my school especially, they need to be convinced about STEAM and STEM, and they know what it is. And I'm saying we need to have it officially recognised in school, and at the moment it's not going to be officially recognised as a thing we're doing. So I need to convince them that it's worthwhile, it's a real thing.
We've tapped into the parent building as well, just trying to present to them. A few of the parents, semi-retired, they really jumped on it. So I think
of the parents we have; they're all talented, creative, successful, quite wealthy people.
Tinkerers, I think it really is. People that used to tinker with things and take them apart, find out how they work.
Yeah.
And now it's the same sort of thing that's coming back in with the kids.
But certainly what I'm saying, so I'm organising some coffee mornings and some almost like work CBD sessions or workshops for parents. So, because I don't want it to be just like the secret thing in school, in this room that nobody goes in apart from me and my ECA, it'd be a bit sad. So, if you can get the parents involved and then have a coffee morning, a primary coffee morning, get them into the makerspace, set it up, and then give them things to do. They'll be really scared. They don't know how to do things. They'll be on the back foot. It'll be great. And so then they'll be really convinced of this is what I want to get into. Yeah. And so if you do a makerspace workshop where the parents have to do the things as well inside the makerspace, or do it after school as a kind of like an after school thing, I think I haven't done it yet, but I think that's the way forward of convincing the school and the parents of what this is.
There's a definite business opportunity here for outside
Sponsorship.
school as well, in terms of the people who are interested in setting something up. Because I know over the weekends a lot of kids go to the Lego sort of robotics sort of side of things, and to be honest, to some extent that's quite rigid. Whereas this sort of project-based learning, where you identify a problem first and then you go through the design cycle, and you fail many times, but then actually build something which is your own, I think there's a definite market.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And if you can gradually build up your stock over time, I know like in Bangkok, in Ari, I think there's called a Fab Cafe, like a Fab Lab, and obviously you can go and rent out and use their 3D printers and their facilities, and you pay by the hour to use their stuff. There's no reason why, if you wanted to, you could open this up to the community, to the parent body, and then if they want to come and use your facilities, that's an opportunity, isn't it? You know, as well as sponsorship. If it's sponsored by a certain parent and they have their name above the door, and then you get some fees, you get some financing, it's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Okay, there's some great resources there that
I'll drop them in.
shared with us, and and certainly some of the companies that we mentioned I'm not aware of, and that's one of the reasons that it's very good for us to meet as a group, that we can share all of those connections and piggyback on the research that we've found and the people that we've discovered. I'm hungry, I can smell the food that's there. It's just warming up a little bit, so we've got a few minutes. So one of the things that I was aware of is that some people may, in the school tour, it's a little bit rushed, so I mentioned that for myself next time just to set aside an hour probably for a bit of a school tour rather than half an hour. Some of you may not have gone into the primary ICT areas, and if you didn't, then I can take you to those areas sort of after lunch, because we've got we've got to 1 o'clock, and lunch isn't going to take an hour, 10 minutes to 2, so if there's anybody interested in going to the ICT, primary ICT, and who didn't go to primary ICT with Peter? Okay. So if you're interested in that, and you can have a look at that area afterwards. And did anybody not go to DT? Have a look at 3D printing.
Yeah.
So maybe on the way we can have go to DT, because DT had a refurb over the summer, so they've got some quite cool stuff in there as well, which ties in nicely with...
Yeah, I mean, this this kind of crosses over between DT and science and IT and computing, but if it's an ECA, it doesn't have to fit into anywhere. It could just be its own thing. And once you've bought the stuff, you can then obviously take it from the makerspace, put it into your classroom, then use it. So you're getting free stuff in effect.
Okay, so at just before 1 o'clock, we'll reconvene and we'll talk about the groups for the discussion, so that we can break out a little bit and just, there's no real agenda to those discussions, there's no real person presenting, it's just going to be an open sort of discussion on some of those key areas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.